Well, screws don't run jails, do they? I mean, really, wings are run by prisoners. I mean, and only you only realise it when, just for instance, say like when a wing kicks off, and you realise you watch if a wing decides, well, I'm not going to bang up, we're gonna riot, we're gonna do this, but whatever. When they decide that, there's nothing anyone can do, is there? I mean, I've said before, I've been in Bedford prison. I got shipped out like literally a couple of months before there was a big riot, or a month, like 2016, 17, roughly, on the wing I was on. And they overrun the jail. They were just refused to bang up, smashing up the wing. Um, got the screws riot shields. My mate was a geezer that I was in there with. I bumped into him in Chelmsford. Good fella. And he was telling me he went for a second, like we heard like the clomping of the boots and all that. He thought the riot squad would come in, and he see the shields. Is there power? The prisoners have got into the whatever and got hold of them, and was sort of like winding people up. Was walking down the landing pretending that like they were the riot screws. Everyone like sort of half got scared, turned, and it was them. That was just an excuse of prisoners. Prisoners run the jails, really. Wings. I mean, screws run the jail with the cooperation of prisoners, and vice versa, really, But when it's time to kick off, there's nothing screws can do. Um, and more lately, it's like gangs run the wings. I mean, if you go to a London jail, rife with gangs, isn't it? Pentonville, Scrubs, Wandsworth, Brixton, Thameside, Belmarsh, whatever. Higher down, sitting here trying to remember London jails, but you know what I mean. It's they're full of them, and they're the people allegedly that would probably have most of the drugs. Allegedly, they could be walking about with weapons for their own protection. The thing about when you're walking about with something for your own protection, if you got it, what's the point in having it if you don't use it? If you got it, you're going to use it, ain't you? If you got that, what are you going to do? If you have to whip it out, I mean, and the geezer says, well, I'm not worried about you. I'm still going to step forward. What are you going to do? Put it down and run. If you got it, you're going to use it, ain't you? So that's why there's loads of attacks in jails, because they're everywhere. And now they're getting thrown over walls allegedly. So big old. I've seen kitchen knives. I've seen them on the wings. I've seen found money myself. Said it before. Allegedly, that was in Bedford. That was in Bedford. I mean, you could poke your hand out the wall in Bedford from my cell with a stick in your hand and touch the prison wall. I mean, parcels, mate, unreal. I found a blade. It was like that, no handle on it, like a kitchen, like say you'd pull out of a knife block. Found one of them in myself. They they have to be like the gangs. Obviously, all the gangs fight amongst their like different postcodes, and they'll have beef, this, that. So like I've worked on induction rings before, and sometimes the induction ring ain't even got induction ring people on it. It's just full of gang members or alleged gang members that can't go onto other wings. Violence, drugs, phones, weapons, all on the increase. With the increase of all the gangs that are in the jails as well. I mean, that's intimidating. If you've never been to jail before, honestly, the more you've been to jail, the less intimidating it gets. It really does. And I'm not saying that to try and big myself up. Well, I've always said I ain't hard, man. I was just a thief, petty thief. But yeah, and it's an intimidating place when you wind up on a wing and it's just full of gang. You can tell like, and it's pack mentality as well, isn't it? If you're in a gang, you're gonna act out. Well, you're gonna act like the rest of the gang. Everyone knows what pack mentality means. You know what I mean? You act how you wouldn't act usually. And that does happen. You know, they're always trying to, be the baddest on the wing, be the baddest in the gang. So like, you know, violence escalates because of that. Because I want to be badder than you, so I'm going to do something that's worse than you. All the troubles for other, it trickles down. It's not just trouble amongst themselves. I mean, if they have a fight, we get banged up. The whole wing gets banged up. Or if it's a bad fight, the whole jail gets banged up. You know. And people have already said, like on a couple of messages I've got on here, like places like Scrubs. I've been to the Scrubs. Honestly, I've never seen so many people get cut up than when I was in the Scrubs. At least once a week, I would see someone get absolutely, yeah, or there'd be word of it happening somewhere else, you know, within earshot. It was happening everywhere, all over the shop, all the time. Pentonville's the same. Now, that someone died there. I was about to say murder, but the people were found not guilty, weren't they? So, you know, there was a fight. Someone fell off the Fives landing or something. Got stabbed or something like that. I'm not 100%. I hadn't even looked at I haven't read the thing lately, but you can be pretty sure that was probably allegedly gang related. Whatever happened there, you know, fighting over drugs and whatnot. So much money to be had now, isn't there, as well? That's the thing. Drugs, phones, even a knife. If you've got a lock knife in jail, what's that going to go for? 1.5, 2? Is what you want, isn't it? Whatever you're going to charge, whatever the person's going to agree to. You know. A gram of whatever on a gram of weed on the street. Yeah, even a tenner. Just say a tenner. A gram of weed in prison, mate. 50 quid, 100 quid. And it's a prison gram. So there's so much money to be earned. So you need so the gangs have to form up and have for protection for themselves as well. Because one man ain't gonna, well, they can. One man, I've seen one man flood a wing plenty of times. But it's always handy if you've got a gang full of people behind you, innit? You know what I mean? Do you think how much you earn off an ounce? 28 grams in an ounce, 100 quid each. And prison grams as well. You know what I mean? Prison grams, is half a gram. 0.5, 100 quid, 50 quid. You're only doing it by sight, ain't you? Yeah, the postcode beast. I've never understood that anyway. Saying that, we did that. The thing is, yeah, gangs, knives, people fighting, people doing this, people doing that. That's always existed, isn't it? You talk to my granddad or his dad or his dad. They'd be telling you they was doing the same things. You know what I mean? I was listening to Noel Razor Smith, the armed robber, doing a talk the other day on YouTube. And he was talking about growing up in the 80s and had gangs, had Teddy Boys and Soul Boys and this and that. And they was all going out with knives and bottles and bike chains and just having it every single day of the week. But it probably weren't getting reported like it is now. You know what I mean? Things never change. Boys hang about in gangs and fight, don't they? Yeah? And have it with other people and do this and do that and act like morons. But I've always thought that. I was always thinking, why do they go on like it's only just started happening now? And the more they report it, the more it happens anyway. Because it's like subconsciously, it's like, oh, I'll get in the paper, I'll do this, I'll do that. But getting off the point now. But yeah, gangs in jails. They ruin like they could ruin a day as well. With like some silly beef, controlled unlock, which means no one's allowed out. You know, food's getting brought to the door. If you was a conspiracy theorist, yeah, you might say that there's a little conspiracy going on to Scrubs. I'll use Scrubs as an example. You know, just let the violence get out of control. Let the gangs get out of control. Slashings, stabbings, cuttings, fightings, going off left, right, and centre. Let all that get out of control. Let the drugs get out of control on the wings, and then eventually people will be begging for us to step in and say, okay, for your own protection, you're going to be behind your door 24 hours a day now. Controlled unlock every single day for your own protection. Don't forget, you've all been asking for this. It's all got out of control. So now we're going to step in. and then it'll eat down every other jail will end up like it. Every other jail will end up like it, and eventually, 10 years time, every single jail would be just controlled unlocked 24 hours a day, bang up. That's just a conspiracy theory, mate. Why would they do that, eh? I reckon, you know, they were probably experimenting for the last 2 years to see how far they could push it with prisoners. Only with prisoners, allegedly. This is just my theory. Obviously, I'm probably wrong. But the thing is, just say it is being allowed to get out of control. And if if that was happening in prison, you can guarantee it's happening on the street. But just say it was being allowed to get out of control. The prisoners, even if someone went, hold on a minute, got them all together and went, listen, this is exactly what's happening. You're playing into their hands, and in 6 months to a year's time, you're all going to be banged up forever. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't listen, would they? Because there's too much money to be had. That's the thing. The drug trade in prison is so lucrative. You earn so much dough off it. You'd have to be pretty high. You have to have some pretty high morals for someone to come along and say, listen, all this money you're earning, you're playing into their hands. You've got to stop earning that money. You're not going to do it, are you? But yeah, maybe jails are being allowed to be run rampant with violence and all this. Yeah, maybe that's happening. And then in a couple of years' time, people will be begging for it. Oh, please keep them banged up forever. Then all that gang violence, it'd be irrelevant anyway. Because they would have done exactly what the government, the prison system, whatever wanted. Create enough drama and madness and mayhem for everyone to be saying, we've got to be banged up forever now. We need this for our own protection. We need to do this for your own protection. You know what I mean? I tell you what, if you want to avoid all that, just don't go to jail in the first place. So, if you like that, hit the subscribe, and we'll chat tomorrow. Adios.